Hello everyone, hope all is well. Welcome back to my channel, Making Math Make Sense. I'm going to be doing another video on helping you all prepare for the Geometry Regents exam. So again, the goal of this video is to help you prepare for this year's Regents, but depending on if you're taking it in another year, this video should be helpful then as well. So the topics that we're going to cover in this video include line dilations, determining the center radius of a circle from an equation, along with population density. So let's get right into it. On the Regents, they typically have similar questions every year, and this is one of the questions. We did this in the last video, however, I want to do this using a graphing calculator. So with that said, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the TI Inspire. My students are, but if you're watching this and I don't know you, you might not be familiar with this calculator. I definitely think this calculator is a bit more handy and more helpful compared to the TI-84. So if you have the funds to get a TI Inspire, go for it. I think it's going to help. So with that said, I'm going to graph this equation. So you want to go to on, and you want to go to graph, and then I recommend going over to new and then pressing add graphs. Now it automatically puts it as a function. You do not want it as a function. You want it as relation. In order to change that, go to graph entry, relation, and that's how you change it to that mode. And then you want to put in your equation, 12x plus 6y equals to 6. Now, as you recall in the last video, at least I hope you do, dilations, if it's a dilation, it has to have the same slope. All right, it has to have the same slope. And you have to investigate whether this is on the line. So is it on the original line? So if you notice, according to our graph, right? So 0, 1, let's kind of evaluate where 0, 1 is. 0, 1 is 0 and then comma 1, that's right here. This is the point 0, 1. And it's clearly on the line. All right. So now you have to ask yourself, what is the y-intercept? The y-intercept happens to be, so the b, or the y-intercept, happens to be where it crosses the y-axis. This is the y-axis, and this point is on the y-axis. So b, in this case, is 1. And our slope, let's go ahead and find our slope. So just bear with me. The drawings are going to disappear every time I do exit drawing. So menu. In order to find the slope, you could find it two different ways. You could go to analyze graph and then dy dx, or you could go to geometry, measurement, and then slope. Either way, it'll get you the same answer. So if you click anywhere on this line, I recommend somewhere where you don't see numbers. So if you click on the line, this number is going to come up, and that is -2. And if you notice the answer choices now, there's only two answer choices with the option of -2 as the slope. And then we already said the y-intercept is -1. So that's why this is our answer, because the equations have to be the same. Since it's on the line, and please write this down, on the line means same equations. If it's a dilation, the equations have to be the same if the center of dilation is on the line. If the center of dilation is on the line, the equations are going to be exactly the same. All right. So, and if you, yes, so I don't want to drag this question out because we did this last class, or last video, pardon me. But this is basically how you would use it on using a graphing calculator. All right. So with that said, let's get into question 13, which also came up on the last test that I gave my students. Question 13 says, an equation of a circle is x squared plus y squared plus 4x equals 8y minus 4. What is the center and radius of the circle? So I'm going to use a graphing calculator one more time. And this is probably not the last time. So I'm going to go to graph, go over to new. It's going to prompt me if I want to save anything. There's no need to save anything. I'm going to add graphs. I'm going to change it to menu, right? Relation. By going to menu, I'm going to change it to relation. So right now is in relation mode. And now I'm going to type in our equation. So x squared plus, and if you guys are not sure where these values are, x is right here. So pardon me. X is right here. Y is right here. You're going to eventually put the equal sign. The equal sign is right here. All right. So I just want to walk you through that. And then x squared, whenever you want to get an exponent, that's also right there. All right. So with that said, let's continue typing in our equation. X squared plus 4x equals to 8y minus 4. So notice this equation automatically comes up, or sorry, this circle automatically comes up. And depending on the features of the circle, you may be able to see the entire circle, or you may not see the entire circle. Notice the top part of the circle is cut off. So to change this, we got to go to window settings, and let's change the Y min and the Y max. Really, we want to change the Y max because it's cut off at the top. So I need to change this. Let's change it to 12. Or you could do 10. I mean, it's really gonna depend, and you could do some trial and error. But now you see the full circle. So now you have to ask yourself, what is the center and the radius? The center is this point. And that's clearly 1, 2. That's 2 to the left, so that's -2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4. So this is going to be 2. This point right here is 2, -2, pardon me, comma 4. And now you want to ask yourself, what is the radius? Well, how do I find or identify the radius of a circle? The radius of a circle is from the center to an edge on a circle. So we can literally just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And the radius is 4. And that's why the answer is what it is. All right? -2, 4, and the radius is 4. Now, sometimes, let's just say it may be a bit vague, or you may have issues counting, I don't know. And I mean that respectfully. Sometimes we overlook things. So in order to find the radius, we can go to the graphing calculator as well. And we want to go to conics. So analyze graph. So, sorry. You want to go to menu, analyze graph, and then conics, analyze conics. And we can find the center and the radius. That's option 1, and that's option 7. So if we find the radius, you want to click on the center and click on the edge, and notice they say 4. And then if you do the same thing for menu, analyze graph, conics, that is going to be, center and -2, 4. So that's why I really appreciate this calculator, because it gives you that flexibility to be able to find different things, and that access to be able to find different things. So using technology, right? So now I want to show you how to use the graph, how to do this algebraically, because they may ask you this as a short response question, and you need to be able to show the work. So we have x squared plus, I'm going to write the x's next to each other, 4x for the sake of time. And then we have y squared. So I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to write y squared. And then this 8y, we want to bring it to this side. In order to do that, we have to subtract 8y. So I have to subtract 8y on this side. So that's going to cancel, and we're left with minus 8y on this side. And then we still have the negative 4. We want to leave the negative 4 where it is. All right, because that's the number without an x or y. So we want to leave it where it is. So now you want to take the number next to the x, the number and the number next to the y. So we want to take the 4 divided by 2. What's 4 divided by 2? You should know that, but if you don't, use a calculator, you're going to get 2. 2 squared. So you're going to basically take the number next to the x, divide it by 2, and then square it. And then this becomes 4. So we want to add 4 on both sides. I'm going to put this number in a different color, and hopefully you'll see why in a second, or in a few moments. So we're going to do the same thing, but for the y. So we're going to take negative 8 divided by 2, and then square it. You're going to eventually get 16. But before we got that 16, we basically needed to square negative 4. So negative 4 and then to the second power. Negative 4 squared is 16. All right, so we're going to be adding 16. To balance out the equation, I have to do the same thing on this side. We have to add 4 and we have to add 16. All right, so this work is being done on the side. Is not a part of the original equation. It's being done on the side. So now we want to complete the square, or to write it in this format. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared. That's our goal. We want to put this equation into this format. So basically, we're going to have something inside the parentheses, and we're going to square it, something inside the parentheses, and we're going to square it, and we're going to get 16. This is going to cancel, so we're going to be left with 16. So now we want to write this in this format. So I'm going to put x and x right here. So what you need to realize is what two numbers multiply to give you 4. So this is the multiply part, and then add to give you positive 4. And the answer is going to be 2. But where did this 2 come up or show up earlier in the question? This is the same 2. So whatever goes right here goes right here. Since this is a positive 2, that's going to be a positive 2. And pardon me, this is supposed to be y. So y, and then it's the same process. So whatever you got inside the parentheses before you squared it, that is what's going to go here. And you could check it. Negative 4 times negative 4. That is positive 16. So that satisfies this part. And remember the addition part now. Negative 4 plus negative 4. That is negative 8. So that satisfies both conditions. So now you need to compare the x plus 2 to the x minus h. In this case, since it's x minus h squared, this implies that x minus negative 2. We got a positive, so we needed 2 negatives here. So that means that h is negative 2. Which is why it's a negative 2 here. And then the k, this is plus y minus k squared, right? So that means that the number that has to go here is just 4. So k is equal to 4. Hence the number that went right there. And now notice r squared. What number to the second power will give you 16? And the answer is, if you take the square root of 16, that is 4. And that's how we got 4 here. All right, so I hope this was clear. If you need me to show another video just breaking this down or doing more examples with this, just write it in the comment section and I got you. So just please communicate. All right, so now we're going to do one more question, and then I'll kind of let you guys take a break, and then I'll do another video. All right. So we have D is equal to, you need to know population density. I'm going to write it as PD. Population density is equal to the population over land area. You need to know this formula. If you put this, so the population, if you divide the population by the land area, you're going to see that this is going to be the largest answer, or the answer that makes the most sense. You should get 262, and that's why that is the answer. All right. So I hope that was clear, and I hope this helped y'all understand a few things. So you have to obviously commit certain things to memory, and use the calculator and your resources to help support you along the way. All right. Please continue to take notes, continue to stay positive, and I'll see y'all in the next video.